And I care for them more than I care about anything else. And yes, I do care for you. Hi, it's Robbie from Southern California. And you know what? My camera's on. Nothing has moved here. And I think I'm just going to do this quick video I wasn't even planning on doing. Let me duck under here because I'm trying to do the hummingbirds. I've had some questions coming through that are a little disturbing to me. And I get that periodically, and that's okay. That's my opinion versus yours. But if it's continued, it could be detrimental to some of our friends that are out here. Some of you have asked or made statements that you've noticed that if you change the ratio, which hummingbird food to make at home, which is the purest, best thing for them, is a quarter of a cup of sugar and 1 cup of water. That's 4 to 1. Now, here's the thing, some of you are changing it. You're giving a third a cup, you're giving half a cup to 1 cup of water. I didn't make this formula up. This has been studied for years by the Smithsonian Institute, by the Hummingbird Society, and many organizations. And the ratio that works for them, that is good for their body, the proper amount of sucrose and water is a quarter of a cup of white granulated sugar and 1 cup of water. I know you say that doesn't sound like a ratio, but it's actually a recipe. And the thing is, if you mix a quarter of a cup of sugar into 1 cup of water, it's all scientific. It still stays 1 cup. It becomes part of the water, the sucrose, which is the white granulated table sugar. And please, no raw sugar, no powdered sugar, no other sugar, but plain old granulated table sugar. It is better to use cane. And the reason was, I'm going to say this loosely, it's not GMO'd, but there's plenty of cane sugar now that is GMO'd. Then using sugar beet or beet sugar. And to be honest, if you do the research, if you can only get beet sugar or sugar beet, it's fine. It's still sucrose, and that's the main thing. It becomes sucrose whether it's cane sugar or beet sugar. I prefer cane sugar, but I have used beet sugar and it works okay. How do you know it's beet sugar? It won't tell you it's cane sugar. That's the easiest way. It will not say on the label. It will just say sugar or granulated sugar. If it's cane sugar, they generally tell you. But let's get back to the ratio because this is what has been getting to me. There is a formula, and I know you can change the ratio at certain times for certain circumstances, and this is not it. We are in summer, so I know that. We can talk about that another time. This is not the time to change it. Just because you've tested it and your birds seem to like it doesn't mean it's not hurting them. Would you double up on your dog medication if your dog was sick and you said, well, you know, I'm going to double it because I know he's going to get better faster? No, because you could blow their kidneys out. The same thing, would you take double the insulin? If you were on insulin to save your life, would you double it just because you feel like it's going to work better? If your doctor told you to have 1 cup of coffee, which would mean 1 teaspoon of coffee in your cup of water, but you've decided you're going to put 2 or 3 teaspoons in and you're still going to have 1 cup of coffee because you're doubling up, tripling up your coffee. You think that's what your doctor meant? And you wouldn't give your kids 10 candy bars to sit down and eat if your doctor recommended 1 or 2. I mean, it goes back to common sense. There's even plants that look alike, and one plant you can use for tea and another one could end up being detrimental. There is a formula. And I beg you, if you're making your own, stick with the formula. No dye. The dye is not needed. They're not looking for dye. We have tens of thousands sometimes of hummingbirds coming through here. They're looking for the feeders that they recognize. And I use these feeders because, well, I use these feeders because they're the easiest thing to clean. There's only 3 pieces to it. And anything that's easy is what I love. I'm switching some of them over to the big ones because we've got a lot of birds. But look at this. This is it. 3 pieces to clean, and you can take a mascara brush, go through the holes periodically to clean them in case there gets a little mold or something in there, and that's all you have to clean. And it's big enough to get a toothbrush in there, a sponge in there with a stick and a swish around. These are fantastic, whether they're the big ones or the small ones. And you do have to clean the holes periodically. I've heard some people say you don't. They bring their beaks in and out of the holes, and they're all over the place, and they're foraging, and they're taking in the environment. And we live in an environment with different bacteria and things around. It gets in here. So yes, take a mascara brush. You can get brushes now for straws. A lot of people are using the boba straws, and they come with brushes, or you can buy the brushes. I've been using that now. So whatever you want, do periodically, at least once a day or once every couple of days. Clean the holes out because it will still accumulate. And just rinsing it, washing it, even with a sponge, you can't get to it. So clean the holes out because it will build. So if you leave a little bit, and even if the fungus or the mold is dead, it will grow right away on top because it's still there. But if it's cleaned, it has to start all over. So clean it. So again, please, if you up it, think about it. They may like it. How much sugar do we like? I mean, sugar for us is not good, but for them, it's their life. This is what keeps them alive, is sucrose, which they get out of nectar. I would personally never change the recipe that has been designed and used by zoos all over the world. And in zoos, hummingbirds can live a very long life. In the wild, they don't always, because as they get older, like a lot of animals that are out in the wild, they slow down and predators take them out. When they're in a zoo, they don't have predators, so they tend to live a long time, a lot of animals. But if you slow them down before their time by building too much sugar in here and causing their kidneys to go out, their life could be 2 years instead of 5 or 6. So keep that in mind. So I hope I've answered this. I stick to 1 cup of water and a quarter of a cup of sugar. And there, like I said, there are times I may add in a little bit more, but that's when it's freezing cold and they're having a problem getting around finding enough to eat and drink. Whole different story. We're still in summer. We're going to be hot all through the fall, and we're not freezing. And I know you're not freezing yet because they're not living in freezing areas. So I hope I've answered your questions. I do go through the questions. Sometimes I read them and I think I'm just going to do a video on it, and this works better so I can explain it. Again, no dye, granulated sugar of your choice. If you can get cane, because the big thing was the GMO. They're all pretty much GMO'd now because the sugar doesn't come from the United States. It's coming from other countries, and they've redesigned a lot of the sugar. Not much we can do, but the point is it keeps them alive because a lot of times they can't find enough food, and they depend on us to give them that extra boost and supply so they can get out there and forage through all the flowers I've planted and all of you guys planted, and even wildflowers when they're not cleared. And a lot of times people clear it, and of course there's a lot of parking lots and cement now around where there would have been wildflowers. So we're helping them out, and this helps them greatly because unlike other birds, they have to forage and they have to eat every day. In fact, they're supposed to eat every 15 minutes. If they don't, they'll perish. I know that that's not 100% true. They can go longer than 15 minutes. But the point is, unlike your other house birds that are around that could get sick and just perch in a tree and sit for a day and not eat for a day and wait till they feel better, they can't do that. If they don't eat during the day, they're not waking up the next morning. So go ahead and ask your questions. I love them. It gives me a chance to express my thoughts to you. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just telling you what is good for them. And I care for them more than I care about anything else. So I shouldn't say that, but you know what I mean. Yes, I do care for you. And it's important that you help them the right way, and this will extend their lives and make them happy and make you happy too. Because when they have babies, guess where the babies go? Back to you. So you get to see more and more build up. Remember, we started with one, and now we have so many. They brought their friends. Their friends followed. They're not friends. They're solitary birds, but one follows the other, and that's what happens. So fun. With that, have a wonderful day, and don't forget to eat what you grow. I'm going back to fill these. Yeah, I've got to extend a few of them because they're emptying these things out in a matter of hours. So I figured, well, I got things to do around here. I'm gardening. So I'll get a few big ones out so I only have to change them twice a day. That's dozens of feeders, by the way. But I can change them twice a day instead of 4 times a day. Bye-bye.